He was doing a lot of drugs at the time, right?
He was doing crazy stuff. I never saw him do an actual drug, but like it's very important. He was extremely smart.
But was he doing it though?
Well, it's crazy
because I guess you don't know.
Well, like
if you didn't see him.
Like I found a massive bag of white powder in his room and rolled up $100 bills all over. But when they tested it, it wasn't like cocaine, it wasn't meth, but he was mixing that powder with another powder. So everything he was doing was legal, like nootropics and all that stuff.
Okay.
But then he would mix it. But he was also just out of control at times. Like he knew how to make meth, how to make crack. Like he would talk about it and stuff. So you're going, okay, I got you, and sometimes he'd have guys go buy Benadryl, a lot of Benadryl from the pharmacies. I'm just going, come on, man.
Yeah, you're definitely doing something shady.
Yeah. And so he was definitely delving in all kinds of stuff, man. But during my time with him, I took it really serious. I don't think a lot of the other guys took him serious. But one of the most profound things he ever told me was when I first met him, brother. I showed up. He's got these massive attack dogs, and he brings me outside, and he just stares me dead in my face, and he goes, who's the most feared man on the battlefield? And he's strapped with like guns, and I mean, he had like a 1911, like a Mag-10. Like it was overkill, right? For me being in the SEALs, I was like, come on, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But he looks me dead in the eyes, man, and he just commanded your presence and your attention. And he said, who's the most feared man on the battlefield? And I said, I don't know, sir. And he was like, it's the oldest man. Do you understand me? And after he said that, I just took him at his word. Like he seemed kind of like a scary, manipulative guy with all kinds of little tricks in his hat, right? Mm-hmm. And so I took him real serious. He saw that, and he demanded the utmost loyalty around him. And if you were slightly off just one day, he would fire you like that fast.
Right.
And so I kind of
probably didn't trust anybody, right?
He didn't trust anyone.
Anybody, right?
He didn't trust Janice, his own wife. It was a wild time in his house. Like he was shooting guns inside the house. And for me, that's like almost no-go criteria, right? But I had to pay the bills at the time.
Yeah.
But then I started to really get involved with him, really like him, and then I became like a son to him. And that's when he took me in pretty short notice and started teaching me everything that he knew or that I could learn with the fire hose of business information. And so he taught me everything I knew about business, know now, and taught me about crypto, taught me about blockchain technology. I was reading I read hundreds of white papers and started doing his negotiations for him, started doing all of his business deals, started making him a ton of money. And John always called me his lucky charm. And so, I'm Irish, he's Irish. and so he would call me his lucky charm because I made him a ton of money. But I knew the truth. For me, it was just like, it was timing. I came in at the right time. And he was just highly influential. So whatever he said on his 1 million person Twitter account, just 75% of them would do what he said. Like, I like this crypto. He doesn't even have to tell you to invest in it. People are just going to flood in and buy it. So I was picking out the coins for him. We were doing the coin of the day. Then I was doing negotiations on cruise ships and keynote speaking events.
So was all the business stuff, was it all directed to crypto?
All of the
or blockchain like stuff?
Yeah, blockchain, ICOs, cryptocurrency, but the majority of it, people just wanted the McAfee name behind their product. But there was also a ton of scams. Crypto is just rife, especially back in 2017. It was rife with scams, all kinds of different
Now, are you saying scams in terms of like was he participating in the scams too? Or
No.
you're saying there were scams, so he actually was one of the ones not doing scams?
Well, there was all kinds of there's all kinds of different companies that were just total fake because it was so new, these crowdfunding and stuff. And so they're coming up with all these different ideas like telemedicine on this app, but you pay in this certain no BS coin or whatever it is. They have these crazy names for all these altcoins, right?
Right.
They called them shit coins. And so there was a lot of scams. And at the time, I didn't believe McAfee was doing anything shady, right? I come from military. I retired out of the military. I go right into this, right? And so I look at him kind of as a commander in chief too. What he says goes. And plus, there wasn't any rules in crypto at the time. And so I justified our dealings as there was no rules involved. And if you're playing the game, like if you're investing a ton of money in this cryptocurrency, okay, at that time, you were very savvy at crypto. Like you knew exactly what you're not the old lady sitting at the computer, right. And then all of her money disappears.
Right.
No. You had to be extremely intelligent at cryptocurrency and trading to play that type of game that he was playing.
And when you say you were negotiating, like what type of stuff were you negotiating?
Well, we would go on like these blockchain cruises, right? And McAfee was just like a rock star. And so these people, these different cryptocurrency companies, blockchain technology companies would come on board these ships or meet us in Thailand at his big keynote speaking, or Ibiza, Spain, Russian oligarchs. Like I'm talking like all kinds.
So he spoke a lot. He was he
speaker. Spoke a lot. He came, but he would speak for free. He didn't charge anything. Okay. He liked him and Janice and maybe me and another guy to fly for first class. Put him in a nice hotel.
Right.
But he would come for free, and then all kinds of different companies would just line up. And it was very easy to do his negotiations for him because it was a very set parameters. The easiest negotiation is non-negotiable. So I would sit there with a head boss of whatever their company was, and they would try to negotiate it down. And I'd be like, hey, listen, this is it, and I gotta go, man. Like in 2 minutes, I gotta meet this other CEO or founder over here.
Right.
And so it was really. He was a great businessman, It was pretty.
So he basically told you, like, look, this is the deal. I just need you to be the voice to get it done.
Yeah, and I was nervous at first. I was like, you don't understand. I don't think I can do this. I don't know. He goes, dude, just you got this, Jimmy. He had a lot of faith in me, and he allowed me to make mistakes. And so I just started running this whole company and just running his entire business, everything from, recruitment and Manning to getting him marketing deals and getting him big business deals with ICOs and in the blockchain companies.
Now, is that stuff you can put on your resume now, or is that stuff that's like people are like, nah, I can't?
Well, I mean, I was eventually arrested with John, you know, and
so before you get into that, tell me like. And I'm sure there's a lot. And I'm sure like this entire podcast could be about your whole McAfee thing. But like give us one of the like most memorable, like absolutely most memorable moments that you have with him. I'm sure there's a lot. So I know I'm putting you on the spot.
There's so many.
There's so many. But is there anything that like really, really stands out to you?
There's the John McAfee that people saw out there, right? Like out there in the public, like, and they believe like, man, this guy's off his rocker. He's crazy. And then there's the guy that I knew, right? Who seemed to be almost like on the evil side of things sometimes, but then this super nice guy, right? But he told me,
was he bipolar?
No, he's just a genius, and a bored genius, like way too smart for his own good. I think
because hearing you say evil and then nice, that's like
I know
crazy to say in two. You know what I mean? But that's a description in my eyes to like manipulative geniuses. Because they can be very evil, but then they can also make you feel. Because I've had experiences with con artists. So actually, I mean crazy that I actually trained 2 con artists. And if they walked in right now, they would be that you would think they're the coolest
dudes in the world,
like dopest, like you know what I mean,
bro.
So I feel like that's what I'm kind of like picturing in my head is just somebody that they're like your dog, they're your boy because they're so good with people, but then their hidden agendas on the side. So then you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So,
well, what was scary about McAfee, which is different, okay? There's the con artist, and McAfee would talk about con artists. He goes, Jimmy, the reason why they call him a con artist is because they build confidence in you.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
And I was like, he would break it down elementary, right?
Right.
But the 2 guys that I ever said I would die for and the most trusted guys that I ever knew in my life turned out to be the biggest con men that I've ever known in my life. And it was during that time with McAfee. And I've noticed that in my life, some of the most trustworthy guys that I've ever met in my life, especially in the crypto world and stuff, not necessarily in the SEALs, it's everywhere, right? But in that brotherhood, but some of the most trustworthy guys I've ever met were absolute dirtbags who would steal everything from you, including your wife. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you met them through McAfee.
And I met them while I was at McAfee. But
you wouldn't put him in that category, is what you're saying.
But I wouldn't put him in that category because McAfee, you knew something was up.
Okay.
You knew McAfee had a no bluff policy. That's, I wrote some of his top 10 things down. And one of his things he told me from the very get-go of teaching me about business, he said, Jimmy, I have a no bluff policy. He goes, do not ever, ever, ever bluff anyone. Let your yays be yays and your no's because, so you knew he's not conning you.
Right.
But he had other ways to manipulate the situation.